Hi folks, this is going to be part 2 of my tutorial on open G tuning. In part 1 we looked at how to tune the guitar, what effect the retuning has had on where we find notes. We looked at the key of G and we looked at how to build the triads, or the 7 notes of the key. Now those chords have been identified, the 7 chords of the scale, we're going to look at how we can play them in open G tuning. So a few different options for each chord of whereabouts you can play it, and what fingerings we can do, and how we work that out, and also what chords those triads actually build, and whether they're majors, minors, and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so let's get into that. I've got a picture of the fretboard here. We're in open G tuning. I've marked out where all the notes are on the fretboard, minus the sharps and flats, just so it's easiest to see. But I've also marked on it the roots, thirds and fifths, where they all are. So wherever there's a G, I've marked it as an R for root. Wherever there's a B, I've marked it as a 3 for the third. And wherever there's a D, I've marked it as a 5 for the fifth. So now what I need to do is look at creating chords based on those 3 notes. So what finger combinations, how can I hold the strings down, where can I fret these notes to make usable chord shapes. Okay, so the first obvious one is the open strings. They're all there. But there's also one here. We can play it like that. Putting the root on the top instead of the bottom. So this one goes root 3 5. This one goes 3 5 root. This one went 5 root 5 root 3 root. So these are all called inversions. So what we get is if the root note is on the base of the chord, that is the lowest note played within the chord, that's called a root inversion. If the third is the lowest note played, i.e. it's on the base of the chord, that's a first inversion. If the fifth is the lowest note played, i.e. it's on the base of the chord, then that's a second inversion. So when we play all the strings open like that, the fifth, we've got an open D string here to begin with. So the D's on the base of the chord, the D in G major is the fifth, so the fifth is a second inversion. So if anybody asks you to play a second inversion, that's all they're talking about. So normally we write that as G over D, so the G chord over a different bass note, that's all that means. So G over D, or a G major second inversion, to give it its proper title. So there's another one. So that's a G over B again. So first inversion, G major first inversion. We can go to there as well. And we can turn it into a second inversion there, because we're starting with the fifth on the bass. So 5 root 3. And then we can come up to the 12th fret, and we could play it like this. So we get on the 12th fret on the 5th string, we get a G note, so there's our root. 12th fret on the 4th string, we get a D, so that's a 5th, so we're going root 3rd. We could play a root up here on the 12th fret, but we could also play the open string, because that's also a G, so we get another root there. We could either, for the third, we could have the third open and have it an octave below the rest of the chord. And we've got a D there as well, so another 5th on the 1st string. If we play it like that and we have a D and a G note sitting basically an octave below where we're playing, we get these nice drones. And that's what I was talking about, one of the beauties of open tuning, how it spreads your chord apart. So basically we've got these, what we've done by doing that is create these drones that have got a nice spread. And that's one of the beauties of playing in open tuning. Let's come to the second of those triads. So the second triad we had was A, C and D. So that was the 2, 4 and the 6. So now what we need to do is, if we look at that in the context of A rather than G, so we take the A and we put that on the root. We get a root, a flat third and a fifth. So we get a root, flat, 3, 5. And the root, flat, 3 and a 5 is the formula for creating a minor chord. So it's an A minor chord is what we've got. So let's have a look at all those on the fretboard. So everywhere there's a root, I've marked it as R, so there where all the A's are. All the C's I've marked as 3, so that's our flat third. And all the E's I've marked as 5, so that's our fifth. So our triad is root, flat 3, 5, A, C and E. So we've got an A minor like that, which is like your normal standard A minor, but because the G string has been detuned to a G, we need to bring it back up 2 frets, a full tone, to get the root A. So you'll find some chord shapes that are like that. Anything based around this, the 4th, 3rd and 2nd strings, because they haven't changed in tuning, anything that was based around that in standard tuning is still going to work. We just need to adjust those notes around it to bring them into the right places. We can do one like that as well. 1st fret, yeah. There's another one up here, which is going to give us a root, 3 and 5. We can get 5 root 3, so a second inversion, or an A over E. There's another one. And where else can we get one? Can we get one off the E string? Let's see. 7th fret gives us a root. 9th, 10th, root 5, 3. So we get an A minor like that as well. So there's a few options for A minors. So that's the 2 chord. Come to the 3rd chord, the 3 chord, or the 3rd triad. So this was 3, 5, 7. So 3, 5, 7 gave us a B, D, and an F sharp. So let's look at that in the context of B. So B is our root. The D is again going to be a flattened third because it will land here. And the 5 is an F sharp. So root is the B, flat 3 is the D, and the 5th is an F sharp. So let's mark all those out on the fretboard. So we can see we've marked all those out for you. So wherever there's a B, I've marked it with an R for root. Wherever there's a D, I've marked it with 3 to represent the flat third. And wherever there's an F sharp, I've marked it with a 5 to represent the 5th. The F sharp. So let's have a look at those and see if we can figure out a few chord shapes we can use to play a B minor. So there's a B minor. We could go like that as well. So start it on the 5th. So we go, for the first one we went root 5, root 3. If we move that across and we play it like that, we get 5, root 3, root. We could play root 3, 5 here on the 9, 9, 7, 7. Root 3, 5. So we can play it up on the 7th fret here, up on the 9th fret here on the 4th string. Root 3, 5. The 3 and the 5 being on the 3rd and 2nd strings on the 7th fret. Because these two strings are tuned the same, i.e. an octave apart, I could do it that way and go 3, 5 root, create a second inversion, a first inversion, sorry. Let's see, we could probably do that across like that as well. So having the root on the E string, root 5, 3, we can get there. Again, another first inversion, so 3, 5 root. And we could take that across again and make it 5, 5 root 3, second inversion. Or we can combine the two. So we can do an A minor like that as well. So that's starting on the 3rd again. So A minor first inversion, or A minor over D. There's your A minors. Now we come on to the next one, which is the 4th triad. The 4th triad is 4, 6 root, starts on the 4th, works up in 3s from there. So 4, 6 root is C, E and G. And if we look at that in isolation, we look at it in the context of that 4th note, which happens to be a C, so we'll look at it in C. We'll put C as the root, and we'll count round the root 3, 5. We get C, E and G. So that's the exact notes we're looking for, root 3, 5. So that's going to be a major. So let's mark all those out on the fretboard. Everywhere there's a C, I've marked with an R for root. So everywhere there's an E, that I've marked as 3 for 3rd. Everywhere there's a G, I've marked as 5 for the 5th. Now again, let's have a look, see what chord patterns we can actually play from that. So I've got a 3rd, 5th, root, 3rd. I could also adding the open 5th string there and make it a C over G, which would be our second inversion. I can bar the whole of the 5th fret. Again, if I'm including the 6th string in there, then that is a C over G, or second inversion. If I miss that string out and play from the 5th string, I get a root inversion, so that's just a standard C chord. If I play from the 4th string and don't play the 5th and 6th, I get another second inversion, it's starting on the G, which is the 5th. If I only play the high 3 strings, the 3 higher strings, the 1st, 2nd and 3rd strings, I get root 3, 5. So it's a root inversion. We'll get a root 3, 5 triad here from the 10th fret on the 4th string, 4, 3, 2, on 10, 9, 8. So that's going 5 root 3, so that's second inversion, or C over G. 3, 5 root, so first inversion. We could add another root on the bottom there to bring it back to a full C chord, or a root inversion. And again, slide those up, we'll get Ds. So let's have a look at D. So the fifth triad, which it starts on D when we're in G, so that's made up of 5, 7 and 2, so a D, an F sharp and an A. So if we look at in the context of D, so if we put D on the root, we'll see that the F sharp lands on the third and the A lands on the fifth, so root 3, 5 again gives us a major chord. That's the formula for a major chord. So let's plot all those out onto the guitar neck. Again, same as with the others, I've marked where all the D's, F sharps and A's are, and I've identified which of those is a root, third and a fifth. So again, we're going to try and come up with a few chord shapes. Right. So I can get the D on the open fourth string and get the root there. I can get a fifth here on the second fret of the third string. I can get another root here on the third fret of the second string, and I can get a F sharp here, which is the third, on the fourth fret of the first string. So there's a root inversion of a D chord. If I decided not to play that D string, the open 4 string, just play those last 3 notes, then that's going to be a D over A, so that's a second inversion. Another combination of that same chord shape, we can put a third on over here as well, another F sharp there. Again, full bar 7th fret. There's one there as well, again starting on the 5th, second inversion if we include the A string, the 6th string. If we miss the 6th string out completely and start on the 5th string, we get the root. Again, second inversion if we start on that, because obviously it's the same. On the 4th string, if we start playing on that. If we only play from the 3rd string, 3, 2, 1, we get root 3, 5. So that's back to the D chords. Yeah, so I can get a root here on the 12th fret, on the 4th string. 3rd string, 11th fret, I can get a 3rd and a 5th here on the 10th fret of the 2nd string. And of course, I could leave that open top string in there as well, because it's a D as well. Give a nice ring to it as well, just as another option. We could bring that over, put the root on the top of the chord rather than on the bass, and play a first inversion, so 3, 5 root. And we can have open D string on there as well, so we can get a nice low root on that chord if we wanted. Could even just play it with the 2 strings and have both those root notes open. This is it. It's all about context and how you want to use it. You might as well take advantage of the open strings if they fit within the chord. It makes sense to do that. Or we could have them both on the 12th fret rather than open. So again, that is exactly the same as that, but the two D notes are an octave higher. Has a completely different sound. Still a D major chord, but it sounds completely different because it's got too low. The root notes are like a couple of octaves down. Just adds another dimension to the chord. The sixth triad, based from the sixth note of the sixth interval of the major scale, gives us 6 root 3, and in G major that gives us E, G and B. So if we look at that again in context of E, so we've put the E on the root, the G is a flat third and the B is the fifth. So G, flat 3, 5. So a chord with a flat third, root, flat third, 5 is the formula again for a minor chord. So we've got another minor chord. So first off we had G major, A minor, B minor, C major, D major, and we're now to E minor. E, G and B, so let's mark all those on the fretboard. Again, showing where all the E, Gs and Bs are, marked root third and fifth as appropriate. And then now let's see what combinations of chords we can come up with for E minors. There's one. There's an E minor with the root, 3, 5, root. And of course we could play it without the high bit and just play the first 3 strings. Root, 3, 5, just play the triad itself. We could put it down as well, we could do it on the lower strings. So we get root, 3, root, 3, 5. What else can we base off that 6 strings? So we could get an E minor triad like that as well. Root 3, 5, root 5, 3, sorry. So root on the 6th string, the 5th on the 5th string, and the 3rd on the 4th string. My finger's not doing anything. We could get it here as well, so we can get a 5th on the 3rd string on the 4th fret, and a root on the 2nd string on the 5th fret, and a 3rd on the 5th fret of the 1st string. We can add another root in below that, or sorry, we can add another 3rd in below that as well onto the 4th string on the 5th fret. So that's quite a nice E minor. So that'd be E minor over G, or a second inversion. Here we've got a root, a 3 and a 5. So here we've got a root, a 3 and a 5. Flat 3, not 3. Again, I could add the 5th in below that as well. And make an E minor over B, which is second inversion. I could take off the 5th here on the high E string and just play the 4th, 3rd and 2nd strings and get a second inversion that way. Actually, I could do it. I've got G there. The G's the G is the flat 3, so I can actually have the open string. So a root here on the 5th string, a 5th here on the 4th string, 9th fret, open 3rd string, 2nd fret, 2nd string on the 8th fret, gives us an E minor. So that's 5th, root, 5th, root, 5th, flat 3, flat 3. If we move those 2 fingers over, I can get 5 root 3. So yeah, on the 12th fret of the 5th string, 9th fret of the 4th and 3rd strings, that's going to give you another first inversion, so 3, 5 root. Now we'll come on to the 7th triad, and that's going to be 7, 2, 4 is the pattern, and that gives us an F sharp, an A and a C. So root being F sharp, flat 3rd being an A, and the 5th being a C. So if we look at that in the context of F sharp, so we put the F sharp on the root, the A again is going to be a flat 3rd, so looking like a minor. The 5th is a C, so in F sharp the 5th's a C sharp, so we've also got a flattened 5. So root, flat 3, flat 5 is a diminished chord, so wherever the 5th's been dropped down, it's diminished. If it's been raised, it's augmented. So let's have a look at those. So marked all the F sharps, A's and C's, designated them with an R, a 3 or a 5 as appropriate, so for the root, 3rd and 5th. So let's have a look at those and what combinations can we come up with that. 4th fret on the 4th string, 2nd fret on the 3rd string, 1st fret on the 2nd string, that's root 3, 5. Root 3, 5. Bit of a stretch, not the easiest of chords to hold. Down there in that position anyway, it would be easier to do it higher up the fretboard, that's for sure. We can take that root from the 4th string and transfer it over to the 1st string. We can go from 4th fret on the 6th string, so root 5, 3, like that, on the 6th, 5th and 4th strings. Where else can we go? And we can go root 3, 5 there. So root, flat 3rd, flat 5th. We can get one there as well, so we'll get a 5th on the 10th fret of the 4th string. We'll get a root on the 11th fret of the 3rd string. And we'll get a flat 3, on the 10th fret of the 2nd string, and another 5th on the 10th fret of the 1st string. And of course we can bring another, if we've got a root there, we'll have a root there as well, because the 2 strings are tuned the same, so we can do it like that. So we've got to bring the root down. And we can go root 3, 5 there. So root, flat 3rd, flat 5th. We can get one there as well, so we'll have a root there. So Or you could do the whole bar and have it over a fifth. Second inversion. And that's all the chords within the key of G major in open G tuning, and a heap of different ways that you can play those. So choose the ones you like and the ones that fit best for what you're doing. Come up with your own, because there will be more. I've just done a few examples here. There'll definitely be more that are worth looking for. I want to look at how we can extend those chords and get different voicings, different variations of them. So like sus4s, sus2s, 6, 9, add 9s, all that sort of stuff, 7s, etc. So I'll show you how we can do that in open G tuning. It actually applies to any tuning, doesn't make any difference, but I'll show you how to do it practically in open G. Realise this is a little bit dry and very theory heavy, but there's nothing stopping you flicking forwards, flicking around and just looking for the chord windows. I'm showing them there. If that's what you want to do, that's up to you. That's absolutely fine. But I think it's worthwhile, for me anyway, I like to know the how and the why. Why is the 2 chord always minor, for instance? What even is a diminished chord, and why is the 7 chord always diminished? And what do you mean when you're talking about a 1 chord, 2 chord, 3 chord, 4 chord, etc.? All these things I think help to build an understanding of how the instrument works. The beauty of this stuff is that it all applies to any stringed instrument. So likes of the ukulele, back there. Yeah, when I first got that, I didn't know any of the chords, didn't know any chord shapes or anything like that. I still don't really, but I kind of figure it out when I'm playing with it. But I use the same method to figure it out. Once I know how the instrument's tuned, figure out what the intervals are between the strings, then look at the key that I want to play in, or the tune that I want to play, suss out what the key is, identify the triads within it. Those triads then tell you what the chords are, whether they're majors, minors, diminished, etc. I can see the notes that build those chords, and then I can start building finger patterns based off of that, either scales or chords, etc. It's one of the reasons why I think it's really important to know within your chord shapes, even in standard tuning, it doesn't matter what the tuning is or what the instrument is, you need to know where the roots, thirds and fifths are so that you can understand how to modify that chord. If you don't know the thirds in a particular place, on a certain string, on a certain fret, and you need to turn that chord into a minor chord, all you need to do is drop the third down 1 semitone, i.e. drop it down a fret, and you've turned your major chord shape into a minor chord shape. So it may even be chords that you've never come across before, you don't know what they are, you don't know how to play them, but if you understand how they're made, you should be able to work it out based on the major chord shape that you already know for that chord, any of them. I think understanding how we come up with the chords in the key, why they're a particular flavour of chord, a particular variation, i.e. a minor, a major or a diminished chord, and within those chords where the roots, thirds and fifths are sitting. If you know that, you're onto a winner straight away. And as I say, it doesn't really matter what the tuning is, you can apply it to any open tuning or any stringed instrument indeed. So if you've got a 4-string banjo, if you know how it's tuned, you're away. Use that method, you can figure it out. You can figure out what's required. It might need you to scribble it down on a bit of paper, or you don't have to do a fancy PowerPoint presentation like I have with the graphics, but you know what I mean, you can just scribble that out on a bit of paper if you need to. Some people can do it in their heads, I can't. I need to scribble it out. But it doesn't take that much, it's not that difficult to work out, and we've been given a very little bit of information, i.e. how the instrument's tuned, or even one note that you can base it on. If you can recognise one note and identify it, you're away, because you just apply the scales and the rules, and you can build everything from there. So Anyway, as I say, hope it didn't bore you too much. Hope it didn't send you to sleep. And if you're still watching at this stage, you've done really well. So thanks very much. I'm sorry if that came across a little bit dry. So anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it useful. As I say, I put together this all the graphics for this. I put it all together into a PowerPoint slideshow. What I'll do is I'll save that as a PDF for you, and I'll link it below in the description so you can pick up that, because I realise some of the concepts, some of the stuff I'm talking about here might have gone too quick, may not have been explained properly. When you see it written down, hopefully it'll make a lot more sense. So I'll stick that down there for you to download. I'm not charging you for it, you can have it for nothing. Gratis on me. Alright, thanks very much folks, thanks for watching. Cheers, bye bye.